Hi friends, this is Dr. Tim here. I just wanted to make this short video to let you know about the errors that I see that are commonly submitted in papers. So let's get down to it. The first biggest error that I see is verb tense consistency. Within a paragraph, verb tenses, generally speaking, should be the same. There are only 3 verb tenses that are used in 80% of papers, present tense, and then 2 others that are pretty common in papers, and I cannot recall the names of them off the top of my head. You can do some research and figure that out on your own, but the general principle is that tense should stay the same within a paragraph. So if you need to change tenses, change paragraphs. You can do a little more Google research and kind of figure that out on your own at a little bit higher level, but it's a little too much to go into for such a short video. As long as you're conscientious of it and you do a little research, you can kind of get that figured out on your own. The next biggest issue that I see are with prepositions. Now, first of all prepositions need an object. That object is going to be a noun or a gerund phrase, or a gerund, which is an ing word. It's a verb with an ing, like for helping, F-O-R, helping. That might be a prepositional phrase with a gerund as the object of the preposition. Now, we just said prepositions need objects, right? Well, you never end a sentence with a preposition. The object comes after the preposition, so if you end a sentence with a preposition, there is no object. So that kind of defeats the purpose, right? So next, the question becomes, so I do see that quite often, by the way, that sentences are ended with prepositions. It's all I can think of. Well, that's not really a good grammatical practice to end sentences with prepositions, whether it is verbal or whether it's written. Now, the next thing is the list of prepositions. What are prepositions? Prepositions are, in this list here, things like from, for, in, on, out, to, above, about, across, as, at, within, in, down, by. So that's just a small collection of ones that are common. But just know your prepositions and know not to end your sentences with them, and then be sure that they all have objects, and you'll be in great shape. The next one has to do with quotations and the punctuation for quotations. First of all, and this is not on the screen, but all quotations must have an open quotation mark and closed quotation mark. I cannot tell you how many papers I've seen of late where it's missing one or the other. It's very important that you get those quotation marks at the beginning and at the end of the quotation. Now, know that the punctuation always goes inside the closed quotation mark. Okay, so what does that mean? Let me give you some examples. The boy went to the store, close quotation mark, period. That is incorrect. Look at the next line. The boy went to the store, period, close quotation mark. That is correct. Here's another one. Until the last man was standing, close quotation, period. That is wrong. Until the last man was standing, period, quotation mark. That one is correct. Moving on, contractions. Generally speaking, the rule is no contractions in academic writing. There are some people who will allow that within MLA. However, I will tell you it is not a good practice. Even if your professors allow you within the scope of MLA, if you go to another writing style, contractions will likely not be allowed. So no contractions. Now notice I say contractions, not possessives or showing ownership, apostrophe S. When that's appropriate, use it. That's different than a contraction. A contraction is two words that are sort of combined in one with an apostrophe and an abbreviated version, like here's, H-E-R-E apostrophe S for here is, right? Well, write it all out. It's only one letter, and it's really not even a letter difference because you got the apostrophe. So you hit the space bar, hit the I, and you're done, and there's no issue. You'll never have an issue writing without contractions. No contractions in academic writing. Let's move ahead. Linguistic symbols, umlauts, accents, anything else that is necessary to express a foreign word or phrase are incredibly important. It is similar to the number 1 and the number -1. Both of them use the number 1, however, it has two entirely different meanings. So does a U in German versus a U with an umlaut. So does an E with an accent mark in French is different than just an E without an accent mark in French. So be sure that you do that. Now, how do you get these umlauts and accents and other letter designations? Through symbols? You hold the letter down in Microsoft Word and most word processors, and you get multiple options, and you click on the multiple option. In Microsoft Word, it's usually a number, and I click on whatever number is appropriate. In the comment section below this video, I will have the Purdue Owl link. In Purdue Owl, you have tips on MLA, APA, Turabian. You have sample papers. You have multiple resources. The sample papers are a great thing to take your paper and compare it side by side with the sample paper, whether you're looking at the bibliography or the way footnotes are done or parenthetical notes or what have you. Make your paper look like their papers, and you're going to be in fantastic shape. Okay? So Purdue Owl, again, look in the notes below, the comment section below this video, and I will have Purdue Owl's web link. And this is the general link, and then to the side are the more specific areas and sub pages. Next thing, this is for me and for probably quite a few people. I always capitalize the word Bible. We teach at a Christian university, so Bible should be capitalized, not capital T-H-E, the Bible, but just small case T-H-E, capital B-I-B-L-E. Always capitalize proper nouns, whether it's a city, a state, proper name, or what have you. If it's a proper noun, capitalize it. Any pronouns that indicate God, he, him, his, capitalize those. Again, that's for me. That's for me teaching at a Christian university. You may be watching this video, and you may be at a public institution, and that may not be the case. Earth, heaven, and hell, in my worldview, those are proper nouns. They are places. So therefore, I always capitalize those places. Moving on. Titles. You always want to refer to your specific manual, but for me, the general rule is use italics when possible for titles. Now, in the music world, it's a little bit different. So if you have a generic title like Symphony number 40 by Mozart, you would not italicize that name. But if you have The Marriage of Figaro, which is the name of an opera by Mozart, then you would italicize that. For books, magazine articles, anything along those lines, if it's a title, use the italics when possible. And I do say when possible because when you are submitting something inside of Canvas, inside the word processor, for lack of a better term, of Canvas, sometimes italics are not allowed. I'm sure the same thing is probably the case in Blackboard. Don't worry about the italics, put it in parentheses. It tells me that it is a title, open and close parentheses on each end of the title. Our next to the last tip is the use of the word this, T-H-I-S. Avoid using the word this when possible. Why is that? It's generic. It does not make you sound intelligent. You will sound much smarter by avoiding using the word this. Most of the time, there is another way of communicating the same concept. When that is the case, use the other way, and you will sound 10 times smarter. So that's just a tip. It doesn't mean you're violating a rule or whatever, but you're going to make a more solid impression on the person who is grading your paper. Our last tip is use synonyms or the thesaurus, right? Select a word, right-click inside of Microsoft Word, and use the thesaurus. Use it to your advantage so that you can avoid repeating the same words over and over again. You want to make sure you use the words correctly and appropriately. Do not get me wrong, inappropriate words can be a negative. But if you're using synonyms, true synonyms of how you use that word in the context, if you use that appropriately, then you will sound more intelligent. You will have a greater vocabulary, and plus it adds to your personal vocabulary, which again makes you sound so much more intelligent. So these are just some of the common errors I see in papers. I hope you find this helpful. Some of you know this information backwards and forwards, but maybe you picked up one or two tidbits. If you have something else you would like to add, do so in the comments section below. I hope you have an amazing day. Take care.